Nigeria's Skye Bank's first half earnings rose 28% to 6.4 billion naira year on year, but was flat quarter on quarter. We cross now to Lagos, where the company's CFO Kunle Adedigba is standing by to unpack those numbers for us. Thanks so much, Kunle, for joining us this afternoon. Well, looking at those first half numbers, earnings up, as I said, 28% year on year, flat quarter on quarter. Run us through the half year period specifically, because things staying pretty muted on a quarter on quarter basis here.
Okay, good afternoon and thank you. A number of major developments in the first half of the year. One had to do with the asset management company, where quite a number of non-performing loans at the end of last year have now been moved to the asset management company. That was concluded sometimes in Q1 and the early part of Q2, and that has seen NPLs drop from about 12% to about 6.8%. And then there's been some subsequent to those transfers to the asset management company. There's been some significant growth in loan volumes as well. So when you take a discount of what was moved to the AMC, we're looking at about a 9-10% growth in loan volumes in Q2. There's also been some growth in deposit volumes, and the second half of the year was also taking in some provisions in line with the recommendations of the Accounting Standards Board. So we're starting to see business gain momentum after some of the challenges that we've had last year. Loan volume net of the AMC is up, deposit volumes up, and we're taking in quite a number of the charges that the Accounting Standards Board requires that we take on.
What was the book value of those non-performing loans sold to AMCON, and that deal price or provisions coverage over the NPLs?
Well, about 56 billion was taken over to the AMC, and I think we got in return about 47 billion in bonds. We expect a review of those transfers to happen sometimes before the end of the year, and that is when we expect to give a final value on the net position. So yes, there's some of the numbers are being held in abeyance pending when the final reviews are done by the AMC. But like I said, 56 billion was moved and 47 billion was received in bills.
Well, we've had a question come through from one of the investment firms over on that and saying, where did that 56 billion naira's loans sold to AMCON actually come from? As at December 2010, we had total NPLs at 50 billion. And even if the transaction was concluded in the second quarter, then NPLs of 26 billion at the end of Q1 appear high. Your response to that?
Well, NPLs at 26 billion account for about 6.8% of the book. Now, the target for the year is 5%, plus or minus 5%. We must also remember that this time last year, NPLs were about 19%. So there's been well over 100% drop in NPLs. And we set a target of 5% till the end of the year, which will be driven by increases in the size of the loan book and also recoveries. So yes, NPLs at 6.8 appear high. They're much lower than they were 12 months ago. And we've set an internal target of 5%, which will be driven by loan growth and recoveries in H2. So we're quite comfortable and confident that 5% is achievable in H2.
Well, you've had some market commentators reiterate that, saying, the underlying loan growth adjusted for AMCON is impressive and should support revenue pickup from here on out. What's your outlook for the remaining half of this year?
Well, for the remaining half of the year, the new ministers and commissioners at federal and state level have been set up. We expect the economy to pick up on and off balance sheet activity to be significant. We've also booked a fair amount of loans, like you said, in the first half, so we expect to see traction roll in H2. So there will be some increased business activities at state and federal government level. We expect also increased activity both in upstream, general commerce, and downstream sectors of the economy. So I expect to see increased loan growth in line with the momentum that we created in H2, so in Q2. So I would say another 5, 6, 7% growth in loan volumes is possible in Q3.
And
that will drive earnings and profitability.
Let's drill down into some of the sectors that you have been involved in, because many want to know, what the progress is with addressing the problem areas that were identified last year, and that being real estate and the oil and gas space specifically.
Well, let me also state that those challenges were not unique to Skye. They were more like an industry and economic problem. The AMC has provided some respite, significant respite, and those loans, based on the value of the collateral, has been moved to the AMC. Secondly, we've actually continued with a number of those projects. We've increased funding, review of the processes, review of the collateral. So I would say that we've learned from those mistakes, and right now, most of the loans that were challenged have been moved to the AMC, and the books at 6.8 NPL is much better than it was 12 months ago.
How soon are you expecting subsidiary divestments to be completed, and are there any charges that are expected to materialize from that restructuring specifically?
We've received approval from the central bank to go ahead with a divestment plan. We expect the divestment to be completed by the end of the year. I don't think there are going to be any charges. We expect probably end up with a tidy profit on those transactions. So by the end of the year, we will have divested and will now be an international commercial bank.